The meeting where everything changed happened on a Tuesday. You didn't yell at anyone, didn't miss a deadline, didn't make a mistake. You just did what you always do. Said yes when asked, explained your reasoning, stayed helpful and available. And that's when your boss gave the promotion to someone else. Someone less experienced, less qualified, but somehow more respected. What did they see that you missed? Marcus Aurelius watched this happen constantly in Rome. Capable generals passed over, skilled advisors ignored, not because they lacked talent, because they had specific behaviors that made people stop taking them seriously. He called them silent betrayals of character. Small habits that slowly drain authority until one day you realize nobody's listening anymore. I'm going to show you exactly which 5 habits are costing you respect right now, and more importantly, how to eliminate them before your next opportunity passes you by. First habit destroying your respect. You explain too much. Picture this. Your team lead asks why you chose approach A over approach B. You launch into a detailed explanation, the research you did, the 3 alternatives you considered, why each wouldn't work, the conversation you had with IT, what your previous manager once said about similar situations. 5 minutes later, everyone's eyes have glazed over. Here's what Epictetus taught his students. The person who needs to prove they're right reveals they doubt they're right. When you over-explain, you're not being thorough. You're broadcasting insecurity. You're saying, I need you to validate my choice. And leaders? They don't need validation. Here's what this looks like in practice. Boss asks, why did you go with vendor A? Weak response. Well, I looked at 5 vendors, and vendor B had good pricing, but their customer service reviews were mixed. And vendor C. Strong response. Vendor A had the best balance of reliability and cost. We're good to proceed. That's it. 14 words. If they want details, they'll ask. This week, try this. When someone questions your decision, give one clear reason. Then stop talking. Let silence do the work. Watch what happens. They'll either accept it or ask a specific follow-up. Either way, you've shown confidence, and confidence earns respect. Second habit. You apologize for existing. Sorry to bother you. I know you're busy, but this will only take a minute. Sorry for the long email. Count how many times you've said these phrases this week. Now, multiply that by 52 weeks. That's how many times you've told people you're not worth their time. Marcus Aurelius had a rule. Never apologize for fulfilling your duty. If your job requires you to ask questions, send emails, or request meetings, you're not bothering anyone. You're doing your work. Think about the executives you respect. They don't start emails with, sorry to bug you. They write, I need your input on the Q4 strategy. Direct. Clear. No apology. Here's the replacement strategy. Instead of, sorry to bother you, but do you have the report? Say, I need the report by Thursday for the client presentation. Instead of, I know you're busy, but say, when you have a moment, I'd like 5 minutes to discuss the timeline. No apology, just a clear professional request. This seems small. But here's what happens over time. People start treating you how you treat yourself. Apologize for existing, and they'll see you as an inconvenience. State your needs clearly, and they'll see you as someone who knows their value. Try this tomorrow. Send one email or make one request without any apologetic language. Just state what you need. Notice how it feels. Notice how they respond. Engagement point 1, 4:30 to 4:45. Quick question. Which of these first 2 habits hits closer to home? The over-explaining or the constant apologizing? Drop a comment. I'm curious where most of you are struggling, because that tells me what to cover next. Third habit. Destroying your respect. You think out loud about your uncertainties. Conference room, big project on the table. Boss asks if you can deliver by month end, and you say, "I'm not sure." There are a lot of variables. The vendor might delay. The team's stretched thin. We might need extra resources. I'm concerned about quality if we rush it. You think you're being realistic, transparent, managing expectations. But here's what everyone else hears. I'm not confident. I don't have control. I might fail. Seneca dealt with this constantly as advisor to Nero. He'd watch other advisors hedge every recommendation with doubts and contingencies, and he watched Nero ignore them. Because leaders don't follow people who broadcast uncertainty. Now, this doesn't mean lying or making promises you can't keep. It means processing your doubts privately, not publicly. Here's how this works in practice. Boss asks, "Can we deliver by month end?" Weak response. "I'm not sure. There are a lot of risks. The team's already stretched." Strong response. "Yes. I'll need confirmation from the vendor by Tuesday, and 2 extra days from the design team. I'll update you Thursday on our progress." See the difference? Same concerns. But instead of sharing your anxiety, you're sharing your plan. Your doubts are real. Process them with a mentor, a peer outside the project, or on your own. But when leadership asks if something can happen, they want to hear either, "Yes, here's what I need," or "No, here's what's in the way." They're not looking for a therapy session. This week, when someone asks if you can deliver, state your answer first, then your requirements. Remove all language that broadcasts doubt. Fourth habit, you're always available, and that's destroying your value. You answer emails at 10 p.m. You take calls during lunch. Your Slack status is always green. You respond to texts on weekends. You think this shows dedication. It doesn't. It shows desperation. Here's what Epictetus taught. What's easy to access loses its worth. Think about it. The executives you admire, are they answering emails at midnight? Are they available every time you ping them? Number. They have boundaries, and that scarcity makes their time more valuable. Now, I know what you're thinking. But my boss expects quick responses. My industry moves fast. I can't just ignore messages. You're right. You can't ignore them. But you can train people to respect your boundaries. Here's how. Stop responding immediately to everything. If an email comes in at 8 p.m., it can wait until 8 a.m. Unless someone's literally bleeding or the building's on fire, it can wait. Set your work hours and stick to them. If someone asks why you didn't respond at night, you don't apologize. You say, "I saw your message this morning. Here's the answer." No excuse, no apology, just boundaries. What happens over time? People stop expecting instant responses. They start planning better. And they start seeing you as someone with authority over their own schedule, which is a signal of seniority. Here's your action step. Pick 2 hours each day where you don't check email. Morning focus time or evening family time. Protect those hours for 1 week. Watch how little actually falls apart. The urgent rarely is. And your respect goes up when you prove you're not at everyone's beck and call. Fifth, and most dangerous habit. You let disrespect slide. Someone takes credit for your idea in a meeting. You say nothing. Your colleague interrupts you for the 3rd time. You keep talking quieter. Your boss publicly criticizes your work in front of the team. You nod and take it. Each time you let disrespect pass without addressing it, you're teaching people how to treat you. And you're teaching them that you're okay with being treated poorly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The man who tolerates disrespect does more damage to himself than the man who delivers it." This is uncomfortable, I know, Confrontation feels risky. What if they get defensive? What if it backfires? What if you come across as difficult? But here's the harder truth. What if nothing changes? You don't need to be aggressive. You don't need to make a scene. But you do need to address it. Here's what this looks like. Someone takes credit for your idea. You don't call them out in the moment, but after the meeting, you pull them aside. I noticed you presented the client retention strategy. That was actually my proposal from last week's email. Going forward, let's make sure we're giving credit where it's due. Calm, professional, clear. Colleague keeps interrupting? The third time it happens, you stop mid-sentence. Let there be 3 seconds of silence. Then say, "I'll finish my point. Then I'd like to hear yours." That's it. No aggression, just a boundary. Boss criticizes you publicly. After the meeting. I appreciate feedback. For future conversations about my performance, I'd prefer we discuss it one-on-one first. That way, I can ask clarifying questions. You're not being difficult. You're being professional. And professionals don't accept public humiliation. This week, if someone disrespects you, address it within 24 hours. Private conversation. Calm tone. Clear boundary. You'll be shocked how quickly people adjust when they realize you're not a doormat. That last one's the hardest, isn't it? Most of us were taught that confrontation is bad, but silence costs you more than speaking up ever will. Which of these 5 habits are you going to tackle first? Let me know in the comments. Here's what connects all 5 habits. They're all ways you make yourself smaller. Over-explaining says, "Validate me." Constant apologizing says, "I'm not important." Sharing doubts publicly says, "I'm not confident." Being always available says, "My time has no value." Accepting disrespect says, "I deserve this." And the truth is, you don't need to shrink. You've earned your position. You've built your expertise. You've put in the years. The Stoics didn't teach confidence as arrogance. They taught it as accurate self-assessment. You know what you're capable of. These habits just hide it from everyone else. So stop hiding. Here's the bonus most people miss. These habits aren't just destroying your respect at work. Think about home. Do you over-explain to your spouse? Apologize to your kids for asking them to do chores? Stay glued to your phone during family time? The same behaviors that cost you respect in the office cost you respect at home. Fix them in one place, and you fix them everywhere. That's how character works. When you started this video, you might have felt like respect was something other people gave or took away, that you were at the mercy of office politics or difficult personalities. But here's what you know now. Respect isn't given. It's commanded through behavior. You control 5 habits. Change those 5 habits, and you change how every person in your office sees you. This isn't theory. This is Monday morning strategy. Pick one habit, start today, and by next month, you'll notice something shift. People listen longer. They interrupt less. They take you seriously. That's not luck. That's stoicism in action. Subscribe for weekly strategies on building the presence, influence, and career you've earned. Next week, I'm covering the exact phrases that get you noticed by senior leadership, the words that separate middle management from executive consideration. Drop a comment. Which habit are you eliminating first? And remember, executive by day, stoic always. Now go command the respect you deserve.